my 20s. And I was a stay-at-home mom, and I had two children. And I kind of went through, at the time, I didn't know it was postpartum depression after my second child was born. And so I, turned to yoga. I found it on a PBS station. And so I started practicing yoga. And I just, at that time, didn't know anything about it except that I was doing the postures and that. And I continued doing yoga throughout my life, on and off. And then when after the death of my husband, I was in my early 70s, and I was, very devastated. And so then again, I found a yoga studio and started going and practicing yoga, and then found a group at a library nearby. And at that time I moved in with my daughter, still in being lost. We had owned our own house, and I went ahead and sold it, and thinking I was going to move in with one of my children, which now looking back on it would have been a disaster. But anyway, so I found this group over at a library where she lived, and I got into the yoga. And then I decided to spend some time down in Texas. My dad was down here in Harlingen. And so I called him and asked him if I could just come and stay with him a while until I figured what I was going to do with my life. And he was very happy. He was in his 90s. He was happy that I came down to be with him in that. So when I was down here, I found the yoga studio that Sandra owns. And I just happened to see it in the paper, and in this man named Robert, he was retired, and he said that you could do classes and the insurance would pay part of the fee. So I thought, oh my God, that's really wonderful. So I went there and signed up, and then started going 3 times a week. And it really helped me. And so then one day a friend of mine had turned me on to this auto book, and it was about yoga. And then I discovered the chakras. It was called Anatomy of the Spirit. And so then I started getting deeper. I really didn't know anything about yoga except the posture. So then when I found out about the chakras, it like opened up a whole new world to me. So then when Sandra was offering the certification through her studio, and I talked to this Robert, who was at my age, maybe a few years younger, and he said he was going to join. So I thought, okay, well, 2 seniors, maybe this would be doable. And it was the best thing I ever did, because then I really found out about the philosophy of the yoga. So yoga to me is, the postures are very small part of it. It's much more about getting to know yourself. Once you start reading about the chakras and starting to understand how the energy works in your body, and how it can help you to focus inward and meditate and sit with yourself comfortably, it just kind of opened up a whole new world to me. So I'm much more comfortable in my skin now than I ever was in my whole life. I wish I had known about this in my 20s. But I would say to you women that are in your 40s, this is a perfect time to get into it, because it will help you going through menopause. I mean, I had a terrible time going through menopause. And if I would have known about this at the time, I'm sure it would have helped me greatly. So I would just say it's worth the investment, and you will find so many different doors opening for you. It's just a wonderful thing. I just can't praise yoga enough. I just read so many books. There's so many books out there, and Michelle had introduced us to at least 5 when we started the certification. And now I had to buy a bookcase because I have so many books about yoga that I just keep reading about it. So, I hope this will help you make the decision, because it was the best thing I ever did.
Okay. Thank you so much. I mean, y'all have made me cry. I've talked to a few students, and today has just been so heartwarming to me. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't cry. But I love that. I love that for you. And I love that you'll share that information with everybody, Mary. And just it makes
Yes.
me so happy that it really did mean something to you. And just,
Yeah.
I'm grateful for
It
you.
did. Well, and then I'm in the last phase of my life because Ayurveda is another thing that I learned. And so now I'm just much more comfortable with that because I was really kind of afraid of that.
Mhm.
But now it really has helped me just be comfortable with myself and appreciate myself at the age that I am.
Exactly. And do you mind sharing what age you are?
Oh yeah, I just turned 79 on October the 6th.
Oh my gosh. So how old were you when you started the training?
I was 77.
Isn't that that's
I
so
know. So I mean,
wonderful.
40, I mean, that's, I don't know why they're having a problem.
And you look so young. I just like you had to say that yourself because nobody would believe me if I said that you were 70, 9 or whatever. It's insane. You're just so young, youthful. So youthful.